Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another 15 minutes of Minecraft build. And today, what are we going to be working on? Well, we're going to be working right here on this blacksmith. I figured that people are going to be taking the journey down this long road all the way to Hobbit HQ, and well, they might need a blacksmith to fix their carts or whatever might break down on the way. Also, I'm going to try to make it a nice little area that you could kind of rest, maybe put a couple of rooms in it, and yeah, that way, you'll have a little area to come and stay when you're on this long journey to Hobbit HQ. So as the night falls, we need to go ahead and sleep. We'll get everything ready, and I'll kind of show you what we're planning. Alright, so here we are on a new day, and what we're going to do is we're going to kind of clear a little bit of this out. Now, if you remember, right through these trees over here is that little park area that we built, so we don't want to get too close to that. See, right here's the swings. We want to keep a little bit of a distance, and if we need to, we'll add a little bit more shrubbery and maybe some trees and things like that, just to kind of block your view. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and prep this area, take these trees out, flatten this area right here, and get rid of this weird hole, and then we'll get started on this project. And now that we have this area cleared out, we can see that I've got kind of a dimensional structure here, and this is telling me what I do and don't want to go past, really. So what I'm looking at is I don't want to go any further back into the woods, so that is my line here, and this gives me kind of a side to side, so like I don't want to go, I want to have a little bit of space here, because leaving space here gives a little bit of room to add a little bit of detail to really make that project settle into the area that it's in, and that way you can really blend things when you start getting to those final details. Now over here on this side, I do have a little bit of room to play with if I want to take this tree out, but I really don't want to take that tree out. So what we're going to do is try to stop the build somewhere around here, but I still have about 3 to 4 blocks that I can play with before we start running into issues. And with that, I think it'll give me enough room towards the back edge. Now, with the front of the build, that's the other thing that we have to worry about, but I think as long as I keep it pretty close to these dimensions, we'll be okay. I've set it back off the road quite a bit, so we do have a little bit to play with as far as the front, but again, I don't want to push it out too far, because then you get into problems with running into the road. And what we really don't want is we don't want the road to run straight into the building. You want to have a little bit of a path to kind of ease your way off. These are all the things that you try to think about before you actually start placing your blocks into a build. But now that we've thought about them, I'm going to go ahead and start placing some blocks. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and get the foundation blocks put in, and that way we'll know our exact dimensions on this building, and then we can start worrying about like color palette and other things like that. And now we have an outline for our building, and what we also have is a start of a color palette. So what I want to do is I want to start this off a little bit dark here at the bottom, and then as we go up, we will get a little bit lighter as we get into like this area, and then it'll get much lighter as we get into this area. So that way we have the lighter areas at the top, the darker areas at the bottom, and that creates a nice little bit of a contrast and a shadow. It's really going to work into our favor. Now, the other thing is, I think what I want to do now is figure out, well, exactly what kind of style build is this going to be? I mean, I've got my dimensions, I know where I want this to be, and I know kind of roughly what I want it. So I think what I'm going to do is, this kind of is a perfect spot for a Tudor house. So we're going to do a Tudor-style build, and that means that the bottom part of this will be mostly stone, and then the top will be wood, and what we're going to probably use is some concrete powder to give us that nice little off-white kind of look. Now we also have to break this build up into 2 sections, because this is a blacksmith, but we want people to be able to stay, hence the Tudor area, because that gives us a little bit more space vertically than horizontally, because we don't have like a whole lot of space down here. Like, I don't want to try to dig into everything. So we gotta build up. So here's what I'm thinking. What we're gonna do is we're gonna split this build in half, somewhere right around here, I think. And what we'll do is we'll make this part kind of like the inside of the blacksmith shop, and the upstairs will be kind of like the rooms that you can stay in. And then over here will be the outside area where you do all the smelting, all the metalwork. And that way, within this little area, we're gonna create 3 different spaces. We're gonna create an outside working area, an inside working area, and a living area up top. So the next thing I need to do is I need to really rough out these walls and figure out what my height is going to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and section this area out here. We'll get a floor put in, and I'll figure out what I'm going to do here with the outside working area. And then I'll go ahead and move in over here, and we'll go ahead and get maybe like the bottom layer of the where the workstations and stuff are going to be. And then we'll build the Tudor section after that. So let me pop in a floor and a couple walls right here, and then I will be right back. And now we have a few walls, and the structure is starting to look more like an actual structure than, well, just a square kind of rectangle thingy. So what I've done is I've added a little bit of floor here. Now, as you can see, we've got a little bit of that darker pattern on the bottom here, but I did not bring that into here. And the main reason for that is, well, this is going to be in the inside and this is going to be on the outside. So, you know, I want lighter colors in here because you're going to be closed off and I don't want it to feel as you're too closed off. Also, out here is where all the work is being done, so that would be a little more dirty than the inside where you'd want to keep it a little bit more clean. Now, I haven't added any details like windows, doors, or anything like that. Right now, we're just trying to get the overall structure layout, and then we can come back and add in all our little details at the end. Now, one thing I do want to think about as far as details as I'm building up is, you know, where I would like to, like, if I want to put windows on this wall, or if I want to put windows on this wall, how high the windows need to be, how high the door needs to be. Now, I do need to think about those kind of things, because if I do like a really tall window, well, that's going to run into there. So I don't want to do anything like that in this build, but that is something to keep in mind when you're kind of laying out your projects like this. Now I think the next thing to do is go ahead and put that Tudor style up top there, and that'll really give us our height, and that way we'll know the height difference between this one and this one over here, because this area is going to be a little bit lower, but we want the roof to kind of connect in and make it look like it's all one building. So I'm going to put a little design up here so we can have a little bit of a housing area, and then I'll be right back. Okay, and now as you can see, we're really getting that like Tudor looking style up there. So I've plopped this up. We don't have any floor in here or anything. It's just mocked up, kind of just letting us know what our dimensions are going to be. And the one thing I do like about a Tudor style is while the bottom is relatively kind of small, at least up here, you do normally gain at least 1 or 2 blocks. With this style, so normally you could push it out on all sides about 1 block if you wanted to. With this one, I'm just only going to push it out on the front and the back, giving it a little bit more dimension this way instead of out that way. Most of our decorations down here will kind of cover up the fact that it doesn't extend out this way, and we really don't want it to extend out this way because this is going to be a work area and we're going to need that space to build up. So now that we've got this, what I'm going to do as it's getting dark, I'm going to sleep, and then I'll start kind of working this roof out, because now that we know, oh, there's a tree there. Now that we know what our height is going to be here, what we need to do is kind of start sloping that down and matching that down here. Now don't worry if this part kind of hangs you up, because roofs are normally tough to do. Those are honestly more some of the frustrating things to do in Minecraft, is to try to put a roof on a building. But if you go ahead and plan everything out and then kind of just work with the shapes that you have, well, you'll kind of end up with something. I know it always doesn't look like it's going to make sense, but if you just put the blocks down, I promise, you end up with something. And there we go, with just a few block placement, we have a roof. And as you can see probably in the video, I'll probably add it in, I did go and change the color palette here. The spruce was just a little too light, and the dark oak made more sense. I actually forgot rule number 1, what's your environment? And our environment is a dark oak forest, so I figured that would probably make sense to make this out of dark oak. I mean, if I was this blacksmith, I don't want to travel a whole long ways just to find some spruce when I have plenty of resources right here around me when I build the structure. Now, it is looking a little closed off, and what we really need to do is start looking at windows and doors, something to open the area up. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop in a window maybe right here and right here. So we can have 2 windows there, and then I'm going to probably do the same thing. I think I'm going to match it right up top, which means I got to do a little something with the sand. Yeah, so let me grab some glass. I'll pop some in up there, and then we'll put in a door right over here. Okay, and there we go. We have some glass in the windows. Now, something else I want to do is add a little bit of color down here. I want to bring some of that down here. And I'm also going to want to put some flowers up here once we're done, and I'm going to want to do the same thing up there. The only difference, I don't want to use a stair because it's going to cover the white concrete right there, and we don't want to do that completely because we want it to peek through a little bit. So what we're going to do instead is a slab and a slab, and that way we still get a little peek of white coming through. Now while we're down here, let me grab a few spruce trapdoors. I think what we're going to do is we're going to add a few spruce trapdoors right here on either side of the window. Do I like that, or do I want to go dark oak? I might, you know what? I think we're going to go dark oak. Okay, now that we have dark oak, let's go ahead and put these here. Yeah, I like that a lot better. That definitely looks so much better. Okay, let me put some up top, and there we go. That's starting to look a lot more like a building. We need to focus down here now, because what I want to do is I want to put a forge somewhere in here, maybe against this back wall somewhere. And we're going to have to knock a hole through the roof for that. So let me try to figure out that, and then I'll be right back. You know, this is an actually nice view right from here. This guy's got it made. Whoever's working here, this will be a really nice location. And I think that is exactly where we're going to put the forge. Now, we've got it popping out of the roof here, and I do need to do some work around the back because, well, it's just kind of flat. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop it out a little bit and then bring it up. And it'll look fine. You know, it's the back of the build. We all know about the back of the build. Now in here, what I want to do is a little bit of maybe some magic. So I've got a hole that goes all the way up to the top, and what I want to do is dig down here a little bit, and I'm going to do some campfires, and then I'm going to do a hay bale, and then we'll do the lava bucket for the forge. And then that way we'll get a nice smoke effect all the way up top. So I need to see lava, hay bale. Okay, so this is the level that the campfires need to go on, and actually I only want to put them in the very back. There we go. Alright, so let's do 2 campfires there. Let's do a hay bale on top, like that. This can be dirt because it doesn't matter. And then we'll do, probably need more lava, but for now, it's not terrible. You know what? Let's just do 2 from the back, have it flowing forward. I kind of like that. That looks good. Now, with the hay bales, that should give us enough smoke effect to reach all the way up top, hopefully, and we should see some particles, maybe. Let me fly up there. Let me look. They're not making it all the way up. How can we fix that? Okay, I just had it backwards, so we need to put the hay bale under, I believe, the campfire, making it a signal fire, and then we'll put the campfires, which will give us maximum smoke, and then hopefully this will be okay? It should. And then we should see smoke coming out the top now. Yes, there we go. So now we've got the smoke raising all the way up to the top because this forge is blazing hot. You know, it's Minecraft, and not everybody knows everything, including me. I mean, there's so many things in this game, sometimes you have to look a few things up. But that's okay, now we have our forge working, and I think that looks really good. That's going to give a nice glow here at night. So what we need to start focusing on now is this room in here, and then that top room up there. And then we'll finish off with all the outside details, and that'll pretty much complete the build. Alright, and then we have our roof, and we've popped a little hole back here in the corner so we can put a ladder up to get to that second story. So now what we need to do is figure out exactly what our layout for the design down here is going to be. Okay, so the first thing we need to work on in here is lighting, because it's awfully dark in here. So I'm thinking maybe a little something in the corner here, and we'll put 1 light down there, and that should give us plenty of light in here. Now we probably need to put something maybe over here. Maybe we'll do like a little table, something like that. Maybe we can do a couple shelves in here like that. Maybe even one over here. No, not right there. Yeah, you know what? That's not that bad. Okay, I kind of like that. Okay, I think that's looking pretty good for a small space. Now, one thing we do need to add is a chair, because this guy works pretty hard, and, well, he needs a place to sit. So we'll do this here, just like that. And as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to move it back 1 block, just so it separates from the table a little bit. It'll be in the way of the door when you first walk in, but I think it'll be okay. Yeah, I think that'll work. Now I think what we need to do is a little bit of paintings. We'll do some armor stands in here towards the end. Let's go ahead and try to add a painting here. So I don't want it there, and we know we want it there. So let's do something like that. I think maybe a little bit smaller. Maybe we'll go with something like this. And we'll just click until we get, yeah, that looks okay. I like that. So let's do that. And then I think we need something right here on this wall as well. So let's block off from the door and there. Maybe we'll do like a 2 high here. Does that fit? Yeah, we'll do that. Add a little bit of color in here. There we go. That looks pretty good as well. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this to the very end because I'm going to do some armor stand magic up here. We'll put a few items up here and things like that. So now let's focus our attention on out here in this little area. Alright, I have a bunch of different items that we can kind of use in here and try to make something work here. So I know that we probably should have at least some sort of a workbench, right? And then I've got some blast furnaces, which... whoop, not that. There we go. We got some blast furnaces that I think would look good right there. And then what we can do is maybe we can do a cauldron over here because we want to quench stuff after we heat it up. And then maybe we can do like something like that, right? And then, well, we've got to have storage. So we can do some storage like that. I think that looks good. I think I want to turn these blast furnaces though. And I kind of want to face them this way. Something like that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. But now that we have this set up, what we need to do is there's a little blank spot here. And what I'm thinking about doing is maybe a little bit of shelving here. Something like that, maybe? As you come up, and we'll do maybe we'll do some armor stand magic there as well. Let's see. How's that looking? It's looking pretty good. I think the only thing that we're missing is maybe some lighting in here. And let me grab a chain. And I think what we'll do is we'll kind of hang a light here from somewhere. Now, which one of these would be... it would be that one right there, right? So, what if we hang it off to the side just a hair? Because again, we're going to get plenty of light from this. This is just for aesthetics, but do I want to come 1 or 2 down is the question. Let's see what it looks like with just one chain. Yeah, you know, that's not bad. I kind of like that. Alright, so now that we've got that, what we need to start focusing on is a little bit more out here. So what I'm going to do is get a little bit more work done out here. I'll do some detail work, some flower work. I'll get the path connected here, so this path will connect up and then we'll connect to the blacksmith itself. And I'll go ahead and do all the armor stand magic, and then when I come back, we'll do a little tour of everything that we've done. And there we go. I've added all the little details, and I think this looks absolutely amazing. Now, I've added a lot of little detail to this, like I've added an axe here in the tree, and some more tools just kind of laying around everywhere. We've labeled the blacksmith shop. I've done the arrows up here. Like, there's so much armor stand work. I did this little area over here. It looks like he's making some arrows. Another axe over here. There's just so much detail in this place, and I absolutely love it. Let's head on inside, and I'll kind of show you around in here. So, again, it's a small space, right? But we make it work with what we've got. And we got a little book over here, you know, maybe you do some reading, or maybe, you know, these are some notes for the forge out here. And maybe there's like different formulas of like metalworking and stuff in there. And up here is some of the armor that the local blacksmith has made. And we've got, you know, a helmet, we've got a full set of armor, we've got some swords. Now let's head upstairs and we'll kind of look at this little bedroom kind of area here where people could stay if they were traveling. But they are going to have to share the bedroom with the blacksmith because, well, there's only 2 beds here and he's got to sleep somewhere. So because this is in a dark oak forest, I kind of wanted to do that theme up here in the bedroom. So I've done like a lot of mushroom theme, and then over here I've done some cabinet work in the back here, so you have a little bit of storage if you stay here. You know, it's a little funky with the doors, but you get used to it. Plenty of storage. And then I've added the mushroom and some flowers up here. I've done the same out the window on both sides, the top and the bottom. And if you're wondering what it looks like with shaders on, let's go ahead and do that now. Well, we can go ahead and turn those on and see exactly how it looks, and I think it looks really good with the shaders. And if you notice, well, hey, we can run shaders again. That's because I got a new PC. I have upgraded, thankfully, finally. And now my videos should look a little bit better, and we can do a little bit more things like this. I mean, it's really nice to be able to actually walk around with the shaders and be able to look at everything. So with the shaders on, it's really nice. Like, let me show you the outside, because I really like the outside with the shaders on, because it's just so much detail out here. And yeah, with the light casting across and everything, it just looks really good. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. This has been an absolute fun one. I am so happy how this turned out. This whole little path project has been really fun. I want to do more stuff like this, and I think we're going to in the future. Now, if you made it this far in the video and you really enjoy what you liked, if you could support me by hitting that subscribe button and the bell icon to be notified with all my videos. We're going to be doing a lot more here in Whimsy and some other things coming up soon, so be on the lookout for that. I've also created a second channel for all my Twitch VODs, and you can find that down in the description below, along with all the other links for my socials, including the WhimsyCraft Discord link where you can find me and all the other Whimsies, and that's the best place to find us. Also down below is a link to my Twitch if you would like to go check that out. I do try to stream every Saturday. The past 2 Saturdays we haven't, but we will be back on now that everybody's back, I hope, this Saturday. So stay tuned for that. And as always, everyone, be good to yourself, be good to others, and until the next one, bye!